So because it's geometric, the common ratio is -3. What is the explicit rule for geometric? What do I start with? A1. What's the base? -3. And then what goes in the exponent? N minus 1. And then it says find which term? The 7th. So use the formula to find the 7th term. And you can use your calculator. And did you get 10,206? Are we together? Number 2. Cristobal, have you looked at number 2? Have you looked at number 2 yet? You haven't made a choice.
Yeah.
So, can you eliminate a choice? What is it not? Not arithmetic. And the best indicator quickly to know it's not arithmetic is when the signs change back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yes? Arithmetic would never do that. Go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Next, what do you multiply 1 times to get -1? It's not that, right? You're thinking? 1 times -1 is? What's -1 times -1? So, this one's not arithmetic, not geometric. It is neither. So, do you have the ability to eliminate? Like, nope, nope, it's neither. Number 3. Michael, look at number 3 and tell me if it's arithmetic, geometric, or neither. Good. Why? I need a math word for going down by. I need a different math word. Yes, the common difference is. Isn't that nice? Thank you, Michael. Now I need a rule. Jocelyn, do you know how to write an arithmetic rule?
Yeah.
Good.
Would it be 53?
You know what I'm going to start with? What I just came up with, which is?
Oh, -9.
And then?
53. N minus 1.
Yes, and here's the power of it. I know the first term, right?
Yeah.
If it was the third term, it would be n minus 3. Or if it was the 8th term, it would be n minus 8. But you can use the first term, and then what comes at the very end would be, what is the first term?
Plus 53.
Perfect. And then I want to find the 9th term. Or the 7th term. 7th? 7th term. I'll call on somebody in a second to tell me the answer. Anthony, what answer did you get? That's what I got. All right, on to number 4. Do you need batteries, Jose? Got it. Good? It'll just take time like anything, right? You get a new phone, and you have to get used to it, whatever it is, right? So just take, and if there's something you don't know how to do, you should, ask me. Number 4, I'm going to give you a chance to look, and then I'm going to ask you. Is it geometric, is it arithmetic, or neither? Chris, you want to volunteer? Perfect. Or do you have a different question altogether? Okay. Chris, tell me what type of sequence it is. Why is it arithmetic? So I want again, and I know it seems like it's tedious that I'm asking you to use math vocabulary, but I want you to describe it in a math way. So why is it an arithmetic sequence? Because there's a what? Yes. What's the common difference? What is it? 1/2. Did you notice that no matter what? So in your calculator, you have to be careful, right, with your signs? Is it positive 1/2 or negative 1/2? It is positive 1/2. Now I need to write down a rule, an arithmetic rule. Diana, how would I write this down? Yes? What is in the parentheses? Well, we're going to first write down the rule, and then we're going to plug in 7 and use your calculator. So what's the rule first? Now, do you notice the first term is negative? So instead of putting down plus, we're just going to subtract 15 over 4. And then you're going to find the 7th term. I'll ask somebody else for that answer. So plug in 7 for n. Again, it's okay to use your calculator. And it's okay. If you decided you want the answer to be a decimal, it's okay. If you decided you want the answer to be a fraction, it's okay. As long as they are the same, you get full credit. Let's see. Nicholas, what answer did you get? That's what I got. Good job. All right, let's look at number 5. And again, I'll ask somebody, is it geometric, is it arithmetic, or is it neither? Goodness. Rosie, is this arithmetic, geometric, or neither?
Arithmetic?
Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I want you, in your calculator, go 2 over 9, subtract 1 over 10, let the calculator do the heavy lifting, and then tell me what the answer is.
11 over 90.
What is it? 11 over 90, like that? And I want you to take that answer and add it to 1 over 10. So it's already in your calculator. So just go plus 1 over 10 equals. What answer do you get?
2 over 9.
Did you go 11 over 90 plus 1 over 10?
Yeah.
And you got?
2 over 9.
Okay, I want you to do it again. I want you to go 2 over 9 plus 11 over 90.
I got 31 over 90.
Is that what the next term is?
No.
See, what could happen is, it could work for the next term, but it could still be wrong. Because it has to work for everyone, right? So you got to be careful. And when it's a fraction, sometimes it's hard to tell, right, if it's not. So, is it arithmetic? No. Rosie, the other one it could be is geometric, right? And to know if it's geometric, I have to divide, right? So can you go 2/9 divided by 1/10?
20 over 9.
If I take 20 over 9 times 1/10, does it give me the next term? So 20 over 9 times 1 over 10. Does it give me the next term? Or is it wrong? Did you know what I asked you to do? The common ratio you found maybe, or the ratio was 20 over 9. Can you go 20 over 9 times 1 over 10? What answer do you get?
2 over 9.
Does it match? Okay, do it again. 20 over 9 times 2 over 9. Because it works once doesn't make it mathematical.
I got 30 over 81.
Does the third one match?
No.
So what did you notice is if you tried to do a little shortcut and said, you know what, it worked for the first two terms, it must then just work for every term. Then you have to be careful, right? So the answer here is actually what? Neither. But you actually have to work at it to see it. All right, look at number 6, please. Good morning. Thank you. She's here. Amelia, this is for you. So, number 6, I'm going to ask somebody, is it arithmetic, geometric, or neither? And if I have to, we'll work together so you understand why the answer is what it is. Corey, what type of sequence is this? So if you go 80 over 320, what's the ratio?
1/4.
And if you take 1/4 times 80, sorry, 1/4 times 320, what answer do you get? Is that good enough? What's 80 times a quarter?
20.
What's 20 times a quarter? We got to make sure it works, right? All the way through? Awesome. So it's definitely geometric. Now I need to have a rule for geometric. Aaliyah, what would the rule be?
A n equals n1, like that.
So what should I'm starting with an equals. What should I put down next?
The first term,
Which is?
320,
Then what is the base?
1/4,
Good. And then what goes in the exponent?
7 subtract 1,
Well, and that's if I want to find the 7th term.
and subtract
But I just want the rule first. Then after I know the rule, I'm going to plug in 7. Thank you, Leah. I'll ask somebody else what the answer is here in a moment. Both are okay as long as it's equivalent. Nancy, what did you get as an answer? That's what I got. Do you know that if you decided you want the answer to be 0.079125, the challenge is you can't round. A fraction is a complete answer. So if you're going to write it as a decimal, you can't say the answer is 0.08. So if you're going to give me a decimal answer, it's got to be full, right? Otherwise, you have to write down the fraction, because the fraction is a complete answer, not a rounded answer. So a good answer is 5 over 64. And again, if you chose a decimal, all of them, 0.079125, you'll need. All right, number 7, I'm going to call on somebody to see if they know it's geometric or arithmetic. All right, Melissa, is this geometric or arithmetic?
arithmetic,
Why?
because it has a common difference.
I know, isn't that good? I heard it, right? Someone was helpful, right? To make sure you said it the right way? So, you're right. There's a common, what is the common difference?
26,
Now, I can't just subtract two numbers and say, okay, now I know it's arithmetic. And notice the answer is positive 26, because the negative numbers are getting closer to 0. So when you go add 26, add 26, add 26, it has to work for more than just two terms, right? It's got to work all the way through, and it does. Excellent. Now I need a rule. Pedro, what's the rule for arithmetic?
26, parentheses, n minus 1.
What's in front? 26, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
N minus 1.
Yep.
Minus 145.
Excellent. Then we want to find the 7th term. So I know you know that take out the n and put in 7. Use your calculator. Evelyn, when you have an answer, let me know.
and then 11.
Perfect. That's what I got. 11. On to 8. All right. Marilyn, is this arithmetic, geometric, or neither? Okay. If it's geometric, what's the common ratio? So if you take 6 over 5 divided by negative 18 over 25, you get the answer negative 5 over 3. Is that right? In the calculator? Did you test to make sure that the other terms follow the same pattern? So if I go 6 over 5 times negative 5 over 3, does it give me the right answer? Can you try that? Does it give you negative 2? And if I go negative 2 times negative 5/3, it gives me 10 over 3? So you're right, it's geometric. Kaylin, what's the rule for this then? So negative 18 over 25, the base, negative 5/3, and then the exponent. Perfect. Then I want to find the 7th term. So Dahlia, when you're ready, tell me what that 7th term is. Goodness, and did we beat Desert Springs? Nice. I knew it. Basketball? Nice. Double-double. I love a win-win, right? Who doesn't like a win-win? Perfect. You know what? That's exactly what I got. Next, do you remember how to add up a sequence? When we add up a sequence, we now call it a series. So I want you to look at number 9, and I want you to add that series. So we're at number 9 right now. Jose, can you tell me if it's arithmetic or geometric?
It is arithmetic.
Why?
Because it has a common difference
Of
7.
7, all the way through. So, here's a better question. You ready? There are 3 things, there are 3 things I need to know to add an arithmetic series. So, what's the first thing? No, I'm talking to Jose still, but I'll talk to everybody. Jose, what's the 3 things I need to know?
The common difference.
I might need to know it, but it's not in my formula. So what 3 things are in my formula that I need to know?
First term.
Good. And the first term is?
18.
Okay, what else do I need to know for the formula to add an arithmetic series?
The last term.
Okay, do I know the last term?
19.
So
Oh, wait, you don't know it. But
I don't, right? 19 is actually what? I need 19. What is that actually? Is how many terms there are, right? Do I know the last term in this series? But I need to know it. So how can I find the last term and then use the series formula? So how do I find the 19th term? Go. No, tell me out loud. What should I write down?
The formula?
Yeah, the formula to find the 19th term. Tell me what I should write down.
I remember everything.
What's the common difference again?
7.
7, parentheses. What term number are we looking for again?
19.
Take away,
1.
plus.
8. Plus the common difference. Or is it different?
We just did the common difference is 7,
Plus 18.
plus 18. Use your calculator right now. Tell me the last term in that series. I'm listening.
I got 144.
Hey, that's what I got. So, sometimes you actually have to find what you need for the formula before you can use the formula. Now, I want to find the sum of the first 19 terms. Sarah, how do I do that? Now I can use the formula. Tell me what I should write down. For an arithmetic series, You start. How many terms do you have? Divided by 2. And then what goes inside the parentheses?
144. No, it's 18 plus 144.
The first one and the... Good. Use your calculator. I know that you're not robots. So when you choose to, write the studying, the working, that's how you remember something. And then even when you do that, you can forget once in a while that you have to keep it up. Go ahead, Sarah. Tell me the answer.
I got 1,539.
Perfect. All right, we're on to number 10. So I want you to look at number 10. I'll ask somebody if they could help me. Can you add that series? If it was not arithmetic or geometric, likely you would have to expand it all and add it one at a time. Sad, right? All right, Kimberly, can you tell me if this is arithmetic or geometric? There are 3 things that I need to know for the formula to add a geometric series. What are the 3 things? The ratio? Okay. What's the ratio?
-5.
Good. What's another thing I need to know?
The first term.
Good, which is?
3.
And one more thing.
And the 7th term.
Yeah, how many terms there are, which is? 7. Now, Kimberly, what's the formula to add the first 7 terms of a geometric? What should I put down?
The first term, which is 3.
Yep.
And then parentheses 1 minus 5.
Now, we got to be careful because the ratio is a negative number. Do you see that? When we have a negative number, it needs another parentheses. And then what goes in the exponent?
7.
And then the denominator is?
1 minus the parentheses.
Excellent. All right, Kimberly, please put that in your calculator and tell me when you have an answer that you can share. Kimberly, I'm listening.
58,500.
That is not what I got. Do you want to make sure you typed it in correctly and see it? Or do you want to... Here's a good indicator, Kimberly, that when you look at the picture after you press enter, is the picture on the calculator matching what it should be? So when you press enter and look back at the packet, do they match? Or did we make a mistake with the parentheses? I'm really patient. That's what I got. 39,063. Turn the page. All right, number 11. I'll give you a moment in number 11, and I'm going to ask somebody to help me. His name might start with the letter T, like my name starts with the letter T, but you never know. Number 11. Okay, do you think it's a battery issue? Oh, wait. So if you come back here behind the whiteboard here, on I think the second shelf, let's just make sure. There is a strong possibility it could also be the calculator because they're older. So just sit here and we'll, oh, you okay? Okay, so first of all, let's just try it first and see if you need to turn in the calculator. All right, so Thomas, is this arithmetic or geometric? Do you know why? That's perfect. That's a good job. There are 3 things I need to know for an arithmetic series. Can you start it off for me? I might need the common difference, but it's not in the formula, right? And so common difference might be helpful, but it's not part of the formula. There are 3 things in the formula I need to know. What is? The first term is negative 9. Is that what you said? Cool. What else do you need to know? So how many terms are there? And what else do I need to know? Yes. And the last term in this case would be the 11th term, right? So, you know what we need to do? We need to find the 11th term. Where's the pass? I had it. Do you see what passes are? Oh, they're here. Right past that. And then say it's malfunctioning, and then just give me a hand. Thomas, do you know how to find the 11th term? Or can I help you? Tell me what I should write down.
Negative 5.
Okay?
And 11, close parentheses.
Excellent. What is that when you either, this is actually not bad to do without a calculator. Because 11 take away 1 is 10. So it's negative 50 subtract 9. All right. So now, Thomas, we're going to now finish this off. I want to add the first 11 terms. So what's the formula?
11,
Yes?
parentheses, negative 9 minus 89.
Perfect. All right. Tell me the answer. I'll be patient. Oh, so just say it's malfunctioning and not computer.
I got negative 374.
You know what? That's exactly what I got. Good job, Thomas. 12. I'm going to call somebody else. Claudia, can you tell me if it's arithmetic or geometric? And how did you find the common ratio? So if you went negative a quarter divided by negative a half or times negative, what answer do you get? Is it going to be negative or positive? When you go a negative divided by a negative, it's going to be positive, right? So the common ratio is positive a half. And the silly thing is, even like a sign, if it's wrong and you put it in the formula, it's not going to give you the right answer, right? Okay, what else do we need to know? And what's the first term? And then lastly, I need to know how many terms, which is... So now let's finish this off. What should I do to find the first 8 terms? Can I draw a long fraction line? And on top, in the numerator, positive or negative a half, right? And then, what do I do inside the parentheses? 1, subtract. Now, this one doesn't need necessary, but it's always a good habit anyways, is 1/2 to what exponent? And then in the denominator? All right. I'm not saying it's easy to type in the calculator, but the more times you practice, it'll get better. So, Claudia, when you're ready, tell me the answer. So, again, I'm not saying it's easy to type in. I'm just asking you to practice. And yes, the end spires are more friendly, the interface. You don't need the calculator skills that an 89 requires you to be more skillful. How you type it in. Negative 1 over 256? You get negative 1? All right. Yeah, I have an answer key, and it could well be wrong. Let me just double check here, just to make sure, because you're probably right, and the answer key I'm looking at is probably wrong. Did anyone get anything else?
I got negative 255.
That's what I got. I got negative 255. She's not a robot, I don't think. So negative 255. Claudia, did you see what you might have typed in wrong? Can I show you what I put in my calculator? I kind of decided that 1/2 is a lot easier just to use what instead. Right? Like sometimes it's not that easy, but decimals are easier to type in a calculator than fractions if you have a choice. All right, we're on to number 13. I'm going to ask somebody else to help me for number 13. I want you to look at it first. All right, let's listen to Lizbeth. What type of series is this? Is it what? I didn't hear what you said. It is one or the other. This is not one of the situations where it could be neither. So, let's say that you eliminated arithmetic. It's clearly not going down by the same number, yes? So, let's say in your calculator you went 9 divided by 13.5. Get a decimal answer if you want. It doesn't matter. But if you did that, what answer do you get? 6 going on forever. That's 2/3, right? And if you take 2/3 times 9, does it give you 6? And if you went 2/3 times 6, does it give you 4? So what type of series is this, Lizbeth? Geometric. And I now need to be able to understand what 3 things do I need. So I need to know the first term. You got the ratio. Next is the first term, which is 13.5, and which is, now tell me the formula. I want to add up the first 10 terms. .5. Now we can't use 0.6. We have to use the full number, 2/3. So it'd be 1 minus 2/3 to what exponent? And then 1 minus 2/3. All right, go for it. And then when you have an answer, let me know. Did you get like a decimal answer? It's a really big, obnoxious fraction. So, in this case, if your calculator, did anyone's calculator give them the fraction answer? Did it give you the decimal? That's because it's such a large fraction. So, as a fraction, my calculator gave me a fraction answer. Is 58,025 over 1,450. 50. Did anyone get that answer as a full answer, right? Right. And so what I'm trying to say is that this is the full number, right? If you have a decimal that goes on forever, right, like it's clearly you're rounding a decimal. I do not want you to round a decimal. I want you to give me the full number for the answer, okay? I know. We'll have to look at it later to see how you can change the mode of it. And you can change the mode to give you the exact answer. Right now it might be in auto mode. So the calculator is saying, you know what, I'm just going to give you the answer because the fractions, whatever. But you can change the mode to give you a fraction answer every time. But we'll look at it later, okay? All right, number 14. Richard, can you help me for number 14? Is it arithmetic or is it geometric series? And what three things do I need to know for an arithmetic? What's the first term? What else? So we have 13 terms. What else do I need to know? So do I know it now? No. So how do I find the 13th term? What is it? So you have to find the common difference to find the 13th term? So if you went 56 over 15 minus 12 over 5, what was that answer? Is it? I agree with you. So it would be 4 over 3, and then it would be 13 minus 1 plus 12 over 5. Is that right? What's the 13th term? I didn't get that. Maybe the answer key is wrong again. Let's try it. Yeah. Did you try it again? I definitely didn't get that answer. So I got the same as the answer key. $92 over 5, right. So now we can set it up. So if I want to add this up, what's the formula to add up an arithmetic series?
13 over 2, parentheses, 12 over 5, plus 92 over 5.
All right, put in your calculator, and then tell me the answer.
696 over 5.
Perfect. So obviously it's tedious to have fractions, but be patient, right, with yourself as you type it in. All right, let's move on to sigma, sum notation. So number 15. Jessica, do you know if this is a situation that's arithmetic or geometric, this sum notation? Or do you want me to help you? So, I want you to go back and try not to talk over me. That I want you to understand the core concept of arithmetic means it's linear. And for geometric, it is exponential. So when I look at the rule beside the sigma notation, what type of rule is it? Linear or exponential? So which one is it? Arithmetic. There are three things I need to know. So Jessica, how will I find A1? So take the bottom number, plug it in. What answer do you get? 17. What else do I need to know? AN. In this case, AN would be which number? So the last term would be 28. So if you plug in 28, you can use your calculator. 23 take away 6 times 28.
Negative 145.
And then, what's the last thing I need to know?
The number.
How many terms are there? 1 through 28. So now I need to know the formula. So Jessica, what's the formula to add the first 28 arithmetic terms?
S 28 equals 28 over 2, and then parentheses 17 plus negative 145.
Good, and we don't need to go plus, I did it too, but you could just go subtract, right? It would be the same. All right, use your calculator. That's negative 145. So use your calculator. Tell me the answer.
Negative 1,792.
Negative 1,792. Perfect. All right, number 16. Clarissa. Is it geometric or arithmetic, number 16? Because the rule is... How did you know? Because the rule is... So, because the rule is exponential, that's why you knew it was geometric. I need to know the y part. What 3 things do I need to know for a geometric series? Good. What's the common ratio? What else? Remember, the common ratio is the base. Keep going. How do I find that? Go for it. Plug in 1 and tell me the answer.
Oh, it's negative 5.
Yes, because 1 take away 1 is 0. 2 to the 0 is 1, right? And then the last thing I need to know is how many terms do we have? Now I need to know the formula to add up the first 13 terms. What should I write down, Clarissa?
Negative 5. Negative 5.
Not negative 5. What do I put down?
Oh, 2
To what exponent?
to the 13.
And then what goes in the denominator?
150.
Perfect. All right, when you're ready, Clarissa, tell me the answer. This one's much easier to type in. And notice 1 subtract 2. It's just negative 1, right, on the bottom. Divide by negative 1. What answer do we get?
Negative 4.
Yeah. 40,965? All right, number 17. Davian. Was it 55? All right, 55. Davian, look at number 17. Is that geometric or is it arithmetic?
Arithmetic.
Because it is a linear rule, right? So I need to know 3 things. You ready? What's A1? What do I need to plug in? No, what's on the bottom? Don't be fooled.
Oh, 5.
Good. You can use your calculator. 1/3 times 5, take away 25 over 12. I know, it's tedious. Be patient. Fractions. Go ahead, Davian. Tell me the answer.
Negative 5 over 12.
Excellent. Now, this is going to help you. The next one you need to do is find n. How many terms are there from 5 through 34?
30.
So 34 take away 5 is,
49.
and then add one more, right? And the reason is, technically, the last term is which term? The 30th term, right? But to find the 30th term, what number do you plug in?
36.
What?
34.
34. Go, use your calculator. 1/3 times 34. Take away 25 over 12. Tell me. Did you get an answer? To type it in? So 1/3 times 30. So in your calculator, you would go 1/3 times 30, and then take away 25 over 12, like equals. I mean, I already know that it's 10 take away 25 over 12. What did you get?
95 over 12.
Yeah. So 1/3 times 34. Why did I say 30? I made your mistake. I made the mistake. It's the 30th term, but use 34. So times 34, take away 25 over 12. What answer do you get?
37 over 4.
Good. I didn't want that to take too long. And then the sum of how many terms are we adding up? 30. What's the setup? 30 over 2, then negative 5 over 12, plus 37 over 4. Now use your calculator. Again, this one you could write as a decimal or a fraction. So as a fraction, it's 265 over 2, or you could divide it in half and have a decimal. All right, on to number 18. Genesis, what type of series is 18? Geometric or arithmetic? Because it's exponential, yes? I need to know what A1 equals. So what number are you going to plug in? So if you plug in 3 into the exponent, use your calculator. So plug 3 in. So that's 20 over 3 times negative 1/4 to what exponent? 2, right? Did you get 5 over 12? The next thing I need to know is how many terms are there? From 3 to 7. Excellent. And the last thing I need to know is the common ratio. Perfect. So the formula to add up the 5 terms is A1 is 5 over 12. 1 subtract negative 1/4 to the exponent 5, and then 1 subtract negative 1/4. I know it's tedious to type in. I'm just going to tell you the answer, and you can practice using your calculator on your own. It's 1,025 over 3,072. The last type of series we learned, what's that symbol above the 19 here, above the sigma notation? Infinity. That's an infinite sum. Does 19 have an infinite sum? Yes, because the absolute value of the common ratio is less than 1. So the formula is really simple. To find the infinite sum, A1 is, so plug 1 in, and you're left with negative 7 over 4. And in the bottom is just 1 subtract the ratio. So type that in, and that gives you the infinite sum. If I look at number 20, it also goes to infinity. But look at the ratio. What's the absolute value of that? Is that number bigger than 1? So this, you know what word we use? We say it diverges, or it's divergent, right? So is there a sum? All right, on to the stories. A library book that is 1 day late is charged a $1.95 fee. Each day thereafter, it's charged an extra 20 cents. Find the fee of a book that is 35 days late. So first we annotate it. Then we need an understanding, is this an arithmetic or a geometric story? And you're not told which one it is. You have to know which one it is by being a good reader. So how is the fee calculated? You start with $1.95 and then what happens? And then the next day, 20 cents, and then 20 cents, and then 20 cents. That is an example of an arithmetic. So the first term is $1.95. It says find the fee if it's how many days late. So which term am I looking for then? Notice I'm not adding them up, right? I just want to know the 35th day. And how do I find the 35th term? The common difference is 20 cents. 35 take away 1 plus $1.95. And when we have a story, I know sometimes we run short of time, but on your quiz tomorrow there'll be stories. On your exam there'll be more stories than not, that we need to write a sentence that concludes the story. All right, number 2. Tucker took an 800 milligram dose of medicine for his headache. The table to the left shows the amount of medicine remaining in his bloodstream after the first 3 hours. After how many hours will the amount of medicine reach 50 milligrams? So first, is this table arithmetic or is this table geometric? And the first column is the term number, right? And then the second column is the actual term. So the first term is 800 and so on. So to find the common ratio, I'm first going to divide. 680 divided by 800. Is that 17 over 20? Next, am I asked to add something up? Am I looking for a term? So 50 milligrams is actually a what? A term, isn't it? So we're going to make it equal to what number? 50. And then the rule is A1, which was 800, the base, the common ratio, 17 over 20. And guess what I don't know that I need to find? N. You are going to solve this with the solve feature on your calculator. You're going to press F2, you're going to go to solve, and you're going to type it in. And use the X instead of N. I'll type it in too. So I ask you to press F2, and then go to solve, and then type it in, which is 50 equals 800 17 over 20 to the exponent. Be careful here. The exponent x subtract 1 needs parentheses around it. Whoop. Do you see how I put parentheses around the x minus 1? Then we go comma x and then solve it. What? Did you? Let's go diamond enter. And then what's the approximate answer? Isn't that cute? Give us logarithms. Isn't that fun? But if we go diamond enter, the approximate answer would be after how many hours? 18? Or we can be exact. So, after 18 hours, 50 milligrams of medicine is left in his bloodstream. That's a good function to practice, right? Especially if you're allowed to use your calculator. Be careful, just because you're allowed to use a calculator doesn't mean you shouldn't write down like the work you're still doing. 3, stocks at a company were initially issued at $9.80 per share. The value of the shares increased by how much per year? 25%. If Ari bought 20 shares each year since they were issued, find her total investment after 15 years. So, $9.80, is that the amount? So it's $9.80 per share. How many shares did she get? So $9.80 times 20. So how much does she have to begin with? $9.80 times 20. In total, how much money does she have? $196. I want to find her total investment after 15 years. The total investment, when you hear the word or see the word total, that means you're adding. So, I first know how many terms do we have that we're adding? 15 of them. This is the tricky part. 25%. To find the percent of a number, you change the percent to a decimal and multiply. The problem is 0.25 does not give me the total amount. You know what 0.25 gives me? Only the increase. So what number do I need in front so it's both the increase and what you have, right, together? So 1.25. Now, can you add up the first 15 terms? It's geometric. A1 is 196. 1 subtract. The common ratio is 1.25 to the exponent 15. And then the denominator is 1 subtract 1.25. Use your calculator. What I got on the answer key anyways is $21,498.62. On to number 4. Does anyone find it more challenging to have stories? That would be everyone, right? But life is more about the stories than it is about like just being given, and here, calculate this for me. Evan got a job with a starting salary of $36,000 with a $1,500 raise each year. How many years will it take for his total earnings to reach $1 million? So, please listen so you do well tomorrow. And on the exam, that is mostly stories. First, is this an arithmetic or geometric story? And how you know it's arithmetic is what are you going up by every year? 1,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,500. That is arithmetic. You're not multiplying. A good indicator would be a percent, would be a geometric indicator. How do I know I'm adding? What's an indicator word? Total. All right. So I need to know the first term. Well, that's $36,000. I need to know how many terms there are. I don't know. I need to know the last term. That's 1 million. Or is that the sum 1 million? That's the sum, isn't it? So I don't know what the last term is, but I know it's going to add up to 1 million. I'm going to need to know this. What's the common difference? Now the good news is, once I set this up, again, you're going to use the solve on your calculator to do the work to solve it. So the formula is Sn, n over 2, a1 plus an. Yes? That's the general formula with no numbers. I know that the total sum is 1 million. I don't know n. A1 is 36,000. An is like, what's the rule for this one? Write down the rule. And the rule would be 1,500, n minus 1 plus 36,000. So if I just ask you about the arithmetic rule, that's what you'd write down. Now, press F2 and type it all in. I'll do the same thing. F2 solve 1 million. That's 6 zeros. One day, somebody in this room will make 6 figures. Maybe more than one person. I'm going to use x. X divided by 2. And then I'm going to type in 36,000 plus 1,500. Again, I'm going to use x subtract 1 plus 36,000. And then I'm going to go comma x. Again, you're going to have to go diamond enter. It's not an exact answer. And I want you to know, if you did it correctly, first of all, there's a negative answer. Do I want negative 67? No. So what's the other answer? 19.9? I think you can confidently say that's... So the question is, how many years will it take for her to be a millionaire? It will take 20 years. Oh, you're talking about the penny and then 2 pennies and 4 pennies? The first part of that is really easy. To save a penny and 2 pennies is easy. It's the next parts as you go on, like day 18, 19, 20, that are tougher. All right. So the beginning part of the saving is easy. It gets tougher to save the money as you go on in that sequence. All right, it'll take 20 years to earn $1 million. All right, next, number 5. A ball is dropped from a tower. The table below shows the height of the ball after each of the 3 bounces. Find the height of the ball after the 12th bounce. First, looking at the table, is that a geometric or is that arithmetic? You go down by 5, down, it's definitely not arithmetic. If I go 45 over 50, I get 9 over 10, right? Yeah, divide by 5, right? And if I go 45 times 9/10, it's going to match. So this is geometric. Am I asked to add up in this question? So it's not a sum question, it's a term question. And what term am I looking for? The 12th. So how do I find the 12th term? The first term is 50. What's the common ratio? 9 over 10. And then what goes in the exponent? 12 take away 1. Go for it. Use your calculator and think the 12th bounce, how high would it be? That's a big bouncing ball. If we're starting with 50 feet on the first bounce, that's not a Super Bowl. That's something from NASA or something. I don't know. Those are the good engineers. And we'll round it. So, on the 12th bounce, how high does the ball bounce? 15.69. All right, turn the page. Here we go. We're going to read together. Logs are stacked, so there are 40 logs on the bottom row. Each row thereafter has 2 logs fewer than the row below it. If the top row has 8, find the total number of logs in the stack. Are you ready to break it down? Why is this arithmetic? I'll go directly to the answer. Why is this arithmetic? Each row is 2 less, right? 2 less, 2 less, 2 less, 2 less. That is an arithmetic example. The word total means I'm going to do what? Add. So to add, I need to know how many logs are in the top row. 40. I need to know how many terms there are. Wait a second. The top row has how many logs? 8. How many rows are there? Oh, we don't even know, do we? Why are we doing? We need to know. What's the last row? How many are there? 40. 8 and 40, yes? You know what? 8 and 40, you know why order doesn't matter? Because you're just adding them, right? Whether it's the first row or the last, or you flip it, would it matter in the formula? No. And so the formula is to find the total number of logs in the stack.
Wouldn't the negative side or positive side answer?
But there wouldn't be a positive or negative one in this case. Both are positive numbers. You would write in a sense, but if you're adding, it wouldn't make, like if I'm going -5 plus -8, or -8 plus -5, you'd still get the same answer, because you're adding them. All right, I want to figure out the total number of logs in the stack, but I don't know what n, right? All right, so to find n, the rule would be 2 fewer would be -2, n. Now, in this case, the order is going to matter in a way where the 40 logs are on the bottom row, and we're going less and less and less. So we're going to start with 40 and going to go all the way down. Now, we know the last row, AN, has how many? So I want to solve this equation. Do you want to use the solve feature in your calculator? Or just solve it? So if you just want to solve it, it's -2n. A negative times a negative is positive, so it's 42. What did I do? What did I do? This should have been what number here on the left? 8, right? So that when I subtract 8, I get -32 and divide, and then how many rows do I have? Now the question is how many total logs are there? So now do I have the information I need to actually add up the logs? So how many rows make this up? 16. So I'm going to add up the first 16. So it's 16 over 2, and then 40 and 8. And now add up how many logs there are. I got there, finally. Did I subtract wrong? 42 take away 8. Is that right? What number should that be? So this should actually be what number? 17. So, how many logs are they? All right, shh. We're going to do better at number 7. All right. When Michelle brought her newborn son John home, he slept just 3 hours the first night. Each night thereafter, he slept an extra 5 minutes than the previous night. How many nights will it take John to sleep an 8-hour stretch? Is this geometric or arithmetic? An extra 5 minutes every night. What is that an example of? That's arithmetic, right? Adding 5 minutes every time. Now, listen. I don't like that we have hours and minutes. So I'm going to change it to 1 unit. So instead of 3 hours, I'm going to say that 3 hours is really how many minutes? And that our common difference is 5. And I want to know how many nights. That means I don't know n. But I know the last term is going to be 8 hours. But again, I need 8 hours in minutes. So 8 hours in minutes is 480. This is what I'm looking for. So the rule is AN, D, n minus 1 plus A1. That's the rule. Here, I know AN is 480. I know the common difference is 5. I'm looking for n. And the first term is 180. Now I'm going to solve for n to know how many nights it'll take to sleep 8 hours. So I'm going to subtract 180. I'm going to divide by 5. And then I'm going to add 1. So how many days would it take to sleep 8 hours? Which is completely a lie. So, number 8. Like in 61 days, your baby's going to sleep 8 hours. Eight. It'll probably take like 4 years. 8. We got 3 more left to go. Here we go. Elijah started a new Instagram account. Gained 8 new followers in the first week. He gained twice as many new followers than he did the previous week. How many total followers does Elijah have after 16 weeks? Twice as many. Is that going to be arithmetic or geometric? And R equals 2. A1 equals 8. And what I want to know is how many followers does he have after how many weeks? That's n equals 16. So if I want to find the 16th term, A1 is 8, the common ratio, and then 16 minus 1. And we have 262,144 followers. Number 9. Someone in here will have 1 million followers on Instagram sometime this, not this year, but in the future. There you go. Someone will have $1 million. Someone will have 1 million followers. Number 9. There are 20 seats in the first row of a theater. Each row thereafter has 3 seats more than the previous row. This is being recorded, and it's nice when you don't talk over the video. If 600 students are coming to the hall for a field trip, how many rows will be needed? Assuming they are started with the first row. So there's 20 seats in the first row. Each row thereafter has 3 seats more. So that's a common difference of 3. We know the last term, or the 600 students are coming, so I know that's an adding question. That the total number of students is 600. I need to know the total number of seats that would accommodate that. So the formula is Sn, n divided by 2, A1 plus An. That's the formula to add it up. The total number is 600. I don't know n because that's the total number of rows. A1 is 20. Now An is the rule. Now what rule am I going to put down? So the rule is 3, n minus 1 plus 20. And now use your calculator to solve it. So F2 and then solve. And then you're going to type in 600. Again, don't use n, use x. So x divided by 2, 20 plus 3, x subtract 1. Close it, plus 20, and then comma x at the end. So again, it's not a whole number, it's not a rational answer, it's irrational. So I'm not going to pick the negative answer. So instead, the positive answer is about how many rows would be needed. And you should round up, because rounding down means you don't have enough rows. So how many rows do you need? So you need how many rows? Whoa, wrong one. How many rows do we need? About 15 rows. Last one for today. Here we go. Number 10. The table to the left shows the value of a car that was manufactured in 2012, along with its value of 3 subsequent years. In what year will the car value $4,000? This is not a total or sum question, but this is going to be a rule question. Now, is this an arithmetic or is this a geometric situation? It is not going down by the same amount. So it's going to be a geometric situation. 31,500 divided by 37,500. And I'm just going to write down the decimal. And the decimal is 0.84. That's the common ratio. That means about 84% it goes down. It retains its value. I want to know when the car is going to be worth $4,000. That's the end term. And I know the first term is 37,500. So can you set up an equation? Can you use your calculator to solve it? So 4,000. A1 is 37,500. The base is 0.84. And the exponent is n minus 1. Use your calculator. Press F2 and solve, and practice solving with your calculator. So, 4,000 equals 37,500, 0.84 to the exponent x subtract 1, comma x. And so that tells me about after how many years would that be? So it's about 14 years. And it says in what year then? So 2012 plus 14. So what year? Oh, should I add it up? So in the year 2026, it'll be worth $4,000. All right, Mr. G Math, over out.